I've gone my entire life only saying the word yes. And although it's helped me take some amazing risks, through time the word yes has become a broken record playing off of my lips. The idea that moving or visiting a new country is something completely alien to so many people astounds me. It's sad to say, but in comparison, the spark of moving has become a weight on my shoulders. I'm a daydreamer. Maybe it's because I'm an introvert, but I like to blame it on being a Pisces. When my mind first started running with thoughts of studying abroad in Portugal, she was creative. She would come up with these crazy scenarios, adventures, and feelings. My mind started sprinting so fast, I swore she was running a marathon. But when I got to the finish line and stepped with my right foot first into Lisbon, she realized I forgot my heart. Don't get me wrong, I was ecstatic to be in Portugal, but I was exhausted. Not from the flight, the packing, or the goodbyes, because Lord knows goodbye rolled off my lips almost as easily as yes did. I have had about 11 different homes. At this point, I don't know what the word home really means. Familiarity? My memory consists of a stop-motion video playing in a very obscure and uneven order. So when I think of home, I think of people. But people come and go, and although 21 years isn't objectively a long time, it's safe to say I'm really tired. For some reason, I believed that in order to avoid the burden of more goodbyes, I had to say less hellos. Now you're probably expecting me to say I regret my decision and that I missed out on some core experiences that can only come from interpersonal relationships with strangers. Well, you're not wrong. But for the first time in my life, the word yes started getting caught up in my tongue, and I wasn't mad about it. I think the first step to intercultural communication is understanding yourself. The independence of living somewhere completely new was familiar to me, but the independence of living somewhere completely new without a tight grasp on anything or anyone was a first. It was almost uncanny. I finally felt zero pressure to do, be, or act in a way that was expected of me. You might be surprised to find out, but I was super extroverted in college. Me and elevated surfaces were like two peas in a pod. But oftentimes it felt like a performance. It was a great act, and I was an even better actress. Moving to Portugal finally gave me the opportunity to be exactly who I am, to get to know the person I've always been. And I'll be honest, at first I didn't really like her. So I tried to mush her up and put her in a little box, lock her up and throw the key away. Emphasis on tried. I would get ready to go out, but as soon as I left the house, I immediately regretted my decision. There I was, full face of makeup, dressed up in the middle of the street, but all I could think about was going home. Don't get me wrong, I had a great time with my friends. But being surrounded by a room full of extroverts somehow made me feel lonelier than ever. It was draining. The idea of having to open up to an entire new set of people within a matter of months and let them into my mind felt superficial. I wanted to be genuine. I had retired my acting career. I went from going out and regretting it to going out and leaving early, and finally to not going out at all. I'm proud to say that not once did I regret my decision. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm better than anyone because I don't party. In actuality, I feel extremely boring half the time. But I never liked attention regardless of how I looked or dressed. Not that I wanted to be ignored or feel invisible. After I started prioritizing myself, I learned so much, starting with the fact that I'm a listener. Not because I don't have a lot to say, because if anyone read my journals, they would beg me to shut up, but because I really do enjoy listening, observing, and understanding. I found that a big part of intercultural communication is actually just paying attention to your place in the world, being self-aware and learning to be quiet every once in a while. While I learned more about myself and trotted through life, I made so many more memories than I thought I would. Like going places alone and having the opportunity to interact with strangers without fear of overanalyzing my words or even ever seeing them again. My life had been feeling like a fever dream, and for the first time in a long time, I finally felt real. I'm not dissociating through every memory. My mind put out a welcome mat for the present, and my heart pumped in approval. From going to Saturday night movies at midnight by myself and feeling sheer euphoria, to the mind-numbing joy of solo traveling through Europe, I put myself first. The word no made a home out of my mouth, and the word yes became reserved for my feelings, emotions, and desires. I looked around and smelled the roses. but I also smell the daisies, daffodils, and sunflowers. I learned more about my own way of communicating, my way of showing love, understanding, and affection. Most importantly, that I don't need to focus on the goodbyes. It can be daunting never feeling at home anywhere, constantly searching for permanence. But even though the word goodbye reads me like a dictionary, I finally took the time to say hello to the one person who needed it most, me. And that's permanent.